All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Sabine, gonna made a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Melody Cookson made a second. All in favor? I guess that, all in favor, raise your right hand. Terrific, thank you. Okay, old business. Empire Communities Pinecone Public Art Application.
Good evening, how are y'all? My name is Peter Ewing. I'm with Empire Communities on the land and development team. I originally came, I believe it was in November, at the very end of November, for approval for our public art sculpture and monument on the corner of Kimball Bridge and North Point Parkway. Sorry. I'm not getting anything. There we go.
Appreciate y'all's patience.
Great. Just a little bit of a refresher. This was our, as required by Alpharetta planning staff, a zoning condition that we place a eco district monument on the corner and with a piece of public art to go with it. Empire, this is a townhome community and it's named the Pinecone community because of all the, I don't know if our aerials are still in here. Yeah, because of all the pine trees and stuff and the drive through the pine trees. So we thought, paying a little homage to the name, that we would put a large pine cone sculptures as part of the eco district monument. The artist is a small metal fabricator, custom metal fabricator in Lincolnton, North Carolina. And he has done several of these pine cones in the past, and we think they would look great on the corner. I'm here to readdress the safety concerns from last time. I spoke to the artist 2 weeks ago now. Him and I had a conversation about it and kind of a little back and forth on what we could do. Our team internally talked about putting some low-lying plantings around it, but we thought that would kind of, if you could see, take away kind of from the pine cones themselves and look a little goofy. So I spoke to the artist, and some of the solutions that he came up with are increasing the thickness of the metal on the pine cones, doubling the thickness of the metal. So that's from 14 gauge, which is about 0.065 inches, to 0.105. So increasing the surface area, and he's also can grind that down as well. So he's going to round the edges of that, and we're going to add just a supplemental sign out in front of the pine cone saying, "Please stay off pine cones. Do not climb." Just a little warning. So that's what we came up with. we think that's a solid plan. For reference, the artist, I asked him if he had anybody ever ask him about these safety concerns. He said no, but he's never had anybody come to him saying that they've cut themselves or tried to climb on it and cut their hands or feet or anything like that. So.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? All right. Do I have a motion from someone, whether we accept or reject? How do you feel about this? Michael?
Motion to accept.
Right. We have a motion from Michael Barsky to accept, as seconded by Jean Andrews. Okay. Right. Michael, you want to read?
I move to approve the minutes as written from, I move to approve the eco-district signage and enrichment design submitted by Empire Communities to be installed at the Pine Cone Community Development with the inclusion of the minor modifications as recommended by the Public Art Committee and Recreation Commission.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Oh, Jean already seconded. Okay. All right, thank you very much. That passed. Thank you for coming back and addressing those issues. We appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
For the record, my apologies. That motion was to say for the minor modifications of the Public Art Committee and the Cultural Arts Commission, not the Recreation Commission, just for the record.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we're moving to new business, and this is the election of chair and vice chair. The floor is now open for nominations for the chairman of the Cultural Arts Commission. I would like to go ahead and start. And when I look back on the past year, I think one of the accomplishments of this commission was the Street Performers Project. It took a lot of work. It was put forward by Michael Barsky, championed by Melody Cookson. They spent a lot of hours with it. All of us had some input into it, but they were really the driving force behind it. And as you may recall, when it first went before the city council, it was pushed back. And Michael and Melody hung in there, and they came up with a new plan. And not only that, they went before the council to present that plan. And I wish you all could have been there. We were there for over 4 hours. It was not on until 10:30 at night. They got a tremendous amount of grilling from a couple people on council. So I was incredibly impressed, really respect their leadership. They work great as a team. So therefore, I would like to nominate Melody Cookson for chairman of the commission. We don't need a second, but anybody else want to put forward a nomination as well? We don't, right?
Yes,
Oh,
but
I'm
first,
sorry. Melody, do you accept the position?
If elected, I'm happy to serve.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any other nominations? Okay. All right. If we have no other nominations, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Terrific. You can vote for yourself. All right. So now I'm going to open up for the election of the vice chairman for the Cultural Arts Commission. And along those same lines, as I said, I think Melody and Michael work as a great team, and so impressed. So I would like to nominate Michael Barsky for vice chair. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, great. Oh, Michael, do you accept? Thank you.
I accept.
Michael accepts as well. So, awesome. All right. So all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you very much. Can I hand the gavel over now?
Passing of the gavel.
I'm honestly not that schooled on Robert's Rules of Order, but I suggest that maybe we run through this meeting and then begin the next meeting with the
Okay.
new chair. Thank you.
Terrific. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Well, that
Can I-
wraps up that.
Can I leave a comment?
Sure.
That one. First of all, thank you very much for serving as our chair. You did a wonderful job getting us off on the right foot. Thanks to the newly elected chair and vice chair. We have a wonderful program in the works that we hope to get accomplished and out there in the community for this coming outdoor festival music season. And so I think we elected the right people to get us through that process because we know that the community wants to have that. So cheers to you and seeing it come to fruition in 2023.
Thank you, Sabine. All right, next, TPA Group Lake Park Cube Public Art Sculpture Application Approval. We have Bennett Snyder. Hi, Bennett.
Make sure I can work this. Did you want to open?
I was going to help a little bit and skip ahead. He's going to be presenting 2 items tonight. One is the cube. One is a mural. The mural is not really for approval. He asked, we're kind of new doing murals, and he asked if we could look and see if we like the artist, because it's new to Alpharetta. It's going to be a pretty big mural. Mm-hmm. And so I asked him to submit an application. Let's go through the process. And we would agree if we liked the muralist, and then he would hire the muralist to do the first rendering, and then he would start over with the application process and bring it back through formally. So I just didn't want that to be confusing when he presents that. So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Bennett Snyder. I'm with TPA Group, representing the Lakeview development on Lakeview Parkway and Haynes Bridge. We've been through, I think this is our 3rd or 4th time through for the Lakeview development. So we've got 6 art installations, and this is a site plan we've put through before just to help. We've got a lot going on the site, where things are located, kind of what we're installing for materiality. So I just wanted to run through that quickly and then have one sculpture to present for approval, and then we'll, if I could, just kind of introduce the mural separately. But on this site plan, we've got 6 art installations, an apartment building under construction, an office building that's complete. And from the last few times we've gone through, the feeling of the development with the office building that's completed is kind of an industrial metal panel, dark metal panel, natural concrete finish with black brick. And we've got on the site plan 2 entry walls. One has been completed with the office building. The second one just started with construction last week, actually. So those are right at the entry. And then I've numbered the sculptures that we've come through to present. We have 2 Alpha Loop gateway sculptures that we've gotten approval for and are fabricating currently. The site's getting to a point in construction where it's safe to install, so we didn't want them to get damaged, so we haven't installed anything just yet. But at the main entry there at the intersection internal to our site is the fox or deer, if you remember, that's kind of hiding a utility structure. And then number 3 is an architectural screen in our central green area. So those are all in fabrication. What I'm presenting today is number 4 in the top right corner, which by our conditions of zoning, we have to put a sculpture, kind of a monument sign at the corner of Haynes Bridge and Lakeview. And so that is the cube sculpture. Previously, we had presented a cube at the roundabout. It was about a same size, 20 feet tall. And when the lawyers got involved at a roundabout, having a sculpture that large, it was kind of a liability for sightlines if there was ever an accident. So Jan Lorink has designed this. He's done all of our sculptures and kind of repurposed that idea to put it at the corner of Haynes Bridge and Lakeview. So if you've been by the site recently, we just shut down a lane on Haynes Bridge to widen it. So we're doing some right-of-way work and putting in new sidewalks. And so that corner right there on Haynes Bridge and Lakeview is about a 5,000 square foot green space. So it's a big space that can kind of fit a sculpture of this scale. So Jan Lawrence put together this package. It's very similar to the roundabout sculpture that we had submitted previously, but it is picture there kind of an overhead view. The idea is to put about a 2-foot limestone seat wall circle right there on the corner, and then this cube would be sitting a little bit differently than the previous version. It was 20 feet tall, 20 feet wide. This is an overhead view of that corner from our site plan overlaid, so you can kind of see the scale of the corner there at 5,000 square feet. There's an existing sidewalk on Lakeview Parkway, and then on Haynes Bridge, we're putting in a new sidewalk that, there's an existing oak, a huge tree there that we're saving, so you'll see that sidewalk kind of swoops into our site. That will all be new construction with this green area right there on the corner, highly visible from the intersection. This is an overhead view showing that seat wall. The cube obviously changes shape as you walk by it and pass by it, drive by it. The shape here is merely coincidence, but here's an overhead view showing that seat wall. So the cube itself will be, it's made to look like a steel I-beam, similar to the Alpha Loop structures. It's made of aluminum with powder-coated coating just for weight and structure purposes. It's much lighter than steel. Those beige strips you see are actually internal lighting. So the idea at night would be to, the Lakeview letters on the seat wall will be lit with the same color temperature as our entry walls, and then the LED lighting within the cube will be the same. So at night, it'll light up, and our goal is to do a kind of an LED light changing fixture that at holidays we can change it to red and green, but for the most part it'll be white. This is just another overhead view. This is a straight on view, so the way it's oriented, if you're in the middle of the intersection looking diagonally at our site, this would be the, this would be the look. And as you moved around, that shape would change, but it's, that seat wall is about 2 feet tall just to sit the sculpture up a little bit, and the sculpture itself is 20 feet tall by 20 feet wide. And this is just a side view, so you'll notice Jan's vision is to kind of have a monkey grass planted beneath it, kind of a 18-inch to 20-inch tall ground cover, and this will be mounted so it looks like it's floating above the seawall. And then he provided just some section cuts of that seat wall, so there'd be a landscape border to kind of hold the ground cover in, and then this seat wall, again, would just create this berm about 2 feet tall to where the sculpture is lifted up, and the seat wall will be about 2 feet tall, but not tall enough to sit on, so it'll sit pretty low to the ground just to kind of frame that sculpture into the space. And this sheet just goes into the detail of those light boxes. Again, the idea would be to run all the electrical internal, the metal structure, and those troughs would light up white at night, or be able to change colors. The finish is very similar to our other sculptures. It's a powder coat, aluminum with a powder coat paint, and so it's a very similar maintenance procedures to some of our other sculptures. But that is it.
Thank you, Bennett. Do we have any questions, comments for me?
You might already know what's coming because the earlier applicant responded to our questions. So we are a live, work, play, walk around kind of neighborhood or community. So especially since this is also next to a walkway, are we expecting people to want to climb this? Because the side angle looks very inviting.
Right. Yeah, I know that question came up with the Alpha Loop sculptures as well, the 26-foot tall gateways. I don't, other than signage of not to, the seat wall will hopefully keep people out. Some sort of signage of do not climb. I mean, it's possible.
Do we recommend?
Right. Yeah, the seat wall frames it. Obviously, it's not tall enough to keep people out. What these renderings don't do a good job of, it looks like grass. The idea is, again, to have a 18 to 20, 24-inch ground cover. So it won't really be inviting to walk in. It won't be like a nice sod that you would go sit on. Certainly, we can look at putting some sort of low rail, just like a black painted metal barrier almost.
So my second question was going to be about the maintenance, and we're assuming that just like all the other ones, the community will maintain pressure wash and whatever you just outlined. So can we ask that you will scrutinize the sculpture for unauthorized or dangerous climbing activity as well, and then figure out how to add a sign or something to it as necessary? Okay.
Certainly, that's something we can come up with and, I guess, share through you, Kim, on what we've come up with, if it's acceptable.
Go ahead.
Just an observation, the fact that it is a lit sculpture, I think, discourages a little bit of that climbing because people are going to want to have, step back to have the lighting effect, so.
Okay, so I guess the question is, are you two proposing that we have them come back addressing or not? No.
No, I think this would be fine, especially if the property already recognizes that they will be looking out for that as part of the maintenance. And
Okay, do we have a motion then to approve this? Go ahead.
If there is someone who may climb it, or if there's damage, then you all are responsible for maintaining that? Okay.
Yes, the Lakeview Development has a master association that's set
Okay.
up, so all the art pieces, all the maintenance within the
Okay.
development, and including this, would be
Okay, thank you.
part of the association to maintain.
Any other questions? If not, could someone please give us a motion? And it's written here. Go ahead. Thank you.
I move to approve the cube public art structure design submitted by the TPA Group to be installed at 2101 Lakeview Parkway along the corner of Haynes Bridge Road as recommended by the Public Art Committee.
Second.
Okay. All right, so Commissioner Patel has moved and seconded by Commissioner Cookson that we approve the cube public arts structure design submitted by the TPA Group to be installed at 2101 Lakeview Parkway along the corner of Haynesbridge Road as recommended by the Public Art Committee. And I will now call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Do we have any opposed?
I have a question. Sorry, who seconded?
It was seconded by
Okay.
Commissioner Cookson.
And the motion was actually done by Commissioner Foster? Okay.
Thank you. So now this next piece you're just showing us for our feedback. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this one's a little bit different. It's a mural, not a sculpture, so talking to Kim, we weren't sure, just the time and resources to come up with an idea. We wanted to make sure we were going in the right direction, so really just looking for feedback that we are headed in the right direction. So on the site plan again, number 5 there right in the top center is a central green area. So it's kind of framed by the townhomes right to the left of it, and then there's going to be a retail parcel on the other side, but it will have artificial turf, kind of a soft seating area and a stage for performances and everything. And that sits about 10 feet below Lakeview Parkway. So I don't have photos of it, apologize for that, but right where that circle is for number 5 is a 7-foot tall concrete wall by 75 feet wide. And it's a smooth finish concrete wall. It looks fine, but it creates this canvas for a mural, and it's something that our team really wanted to do. We have a lot of sculptures, but to bring in a mural kind of really excited us. So we went through a few different options on what the mural would look like. It's not our expertise by any means, but we were connected with an artist named Thomas Turner, who's done a lot of murals throughout Atlanta, across the country, and a few in Europe. And what brought us to him is, again, the development has a lot of kind of industrial, modern feel, kind of cold. All the structures and sculptures are the dark metal panels, but we do have a lot of nature. So the amphitheater, which is finished now, is a huge green space with the lake, obviously. And then we've got this central green park, which is kind of a retreat from the buildings and a place to hang out. And what's cool about Thomas's work is it's very colorful. It's very nature focused. I would encourage you to go to his website. He does all kinds of work. He did the Hawk at Atlantic Station, and he's kind of got this style of wildlife and nature kind of tied together. So we've met with him and are ready to have him start sketching. We just wanted to make sure we're headed in the right direction. And he asked us what we wanted to see on the mural, and his feedback, and we agreed, is we'd probably ruin that. So we've told him to take that 7-foot tall by 75-foot wide wall and just come up with whatever he can come up with. The scale of it just happens to be at the bottom right of this page. The hummingbird mural, that's not the direction we're going, and we're not sure what he's going to come up with. But that's kind of the scale. It'd be a long linear mural with a ton of color. And so I guess if the feedback is this would be something that would be approved, we're going to cut him loose to come up with a sketch and hopefully actually bring that design. And he puts it on, he takes a photo in the field, makes a digital rendering that we could share at that point once we have that sketch. But we're just not at that point yet. So this is more of an up and coming next month or 2 months from now.
All right. Any thoughts?
Hooray. Great idea.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
If, Amber, could we go back to the site plan? Is this a road facing?
It's
wall?
not actually. So Lakeview Parkway sits about 10 feet higher. We've actually, and I should have taken photos, but if you do zoom in, we've put stairs where you can walk from the sidewalk on Lakeview down about 10 feet to this green area. So this wall actually faces the green space of the green. The entrance to the parking deck for the apartment building is right across the street. So that intersection that's internal is raised with nice pavers. So this mural would face internal. And again, we're hoping that with the retail site to program a restaurant or brewery type tenant who would kind of spill out onto the central greens. You know, people there on weekends and at nights. And we've put some uplighting across that entire wall. So at night it'll be lit up and visible. So.
Okay, thank you.
I like the nature theme a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His work is incredible. So very excited about it.
Yeah, it seems to almost have that 3D, like pulls you into effect,
Yeah.
which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, what's amazing is it's all spray painted.
I had looked at his online, even better examples online of his work as well.
When you make the application for that with a rendering, will we also get a maintenance plan for that?
Yes. Yeah, the concern is light, UV,
Right.
and rain, so he does a clear coating after to hold it up. Our concern was that in a few years it would kind of wear, so. But yeah, we'll include all that.
Michael, I see you down there contemplating.
Well, no, you would answer my question. You would answer my question about lighting. I'm assuming when you say continuous lighting from the ground up, is it spot floodlights or LEDs on the ground, or is it a continuous light?
Yeah, it's a continuous 75-foot fixture, so it's custom made. I'll provide pictures when we apply, but that concrete wall's got a 2-foot landscape strip, and then there's a sidewalk and a stage. So we've installed that lighting about 2 feet off the wall, and it's 75 feet long, so it washes the entire wall. So.
Any other feedback? I appreciate you bringing it to us before you get to the next phase. This is awesome. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah. And the site is in the eco district. I didn't follow the second part.
I was trying to let him do it. I just thought during the review committee that it was important to know that that's in the eco district, so hence the nature theme. So I thought that was important. And also it was asked, the review committee asked What about the people that are living on site? Are they going to like the mural? And the mural will be there before they purchase their homes. So I thought that was important.
Yeah, the townhomes are for sale units. That's a good point. The apartments are rentals, but the mural will be installed before any townhome units get purchased. It'll be in place.
I do have one more question. Is there any kind of thought already about, other than maintenance, like, would you like to switch this out in 3 years? Any kind of rotation that you already have in mind?
We talked about a vinyl wrap just because of the durability concerns. The thought was it'd be a digital wrap that you'd apply to the wall. The consensus on our end was the hand painted was much better, just a better look and finish. I think the lifetime of the mural is about 5 years with this clear coat, so there'd be an opportunity to switch it out eventually. So, yeah.
All right, well, Bennett, I think we say go ahead.
Awesome, thank you.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Anybody, unless there's any more questions, anybody? Okay, one more.
Just a quick question. I'm not sure if it's appropriate, but how much does it cost the mural to paint it? Do you have a quote?
Yeah, well, we do have a contract with them.
Okay.
So, awesome, thank you all so
Okay,
much.
thank you. What?
We actually need to vote on approval for that.
Kim said we didn't. This is just a, yeah.
So I don't know what the proper procedure would be. When he's requesting it, this artist would be within the scope of what a mural.
Right, I'm thinking that I have it written that we should vote to approve the artist and the mural design concept. That's the way that I have it written for us to vote. So of course, they can always come back with the final concept.
I mean, it's just a concept. I mean,
Yeah, because I guess with the feedback, we'll release him to come up with an actual sketch.
Amber, could we maybe use the same language and then modify it?
Yes, and just vote on the
pending?
approval of the artist.
yeah.
You could just vote on approval of the artist.
Yeah, I think that's all. Approve it.
Okay, so you already have a contract. You don't mind us locking you in on the artist?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, we'll give him the green light.
So I
Okay.
guess then we can go ahead and do it.
I move to approve the artist submitted by the TPA group for the mural to be installed at the 2101 Lakeview Parkway, Central Green, as recommended by the Public Art Committee.
I second that.
Do you have all that? Yes. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Do we have any dissenting votes? No? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you all very much.
Can't wait to see it. Okay, staff presentations, Cultural Arts Division monthly report.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see, get to. Great. So, I wanted to kind of share with you some things coming up on the mid-year request on the budget, and just kind of give you a little bit of an overview, just a heads up, and then if you have further questions, I could answer them at a later time or now. Probably, I think it was 2018, we had a department, that's the Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Services. The whole department had a master plan that was finalized, and the Cultural Services was just a few months old. And so we were unable to really come up with the conceptual plan. So within the department plan, we said, and that's what's shown on this page here, that we would create a Cultural Services master plan for the city. And we got that in the budget, 2020, and it didn't happen because we know why. So now we're back at that point that we're asking again, and some of the framework is actually to get a lot of the stakeholders on board with what they want to see. It's not really talking about the type of art, when I say see the type of art, but the processes and what art means to people and getting the right terminology in place, and so we can actually have the same conversations and talk about it. And there's a lot of other layers, but we will do get community input, we'll do meetings, but the consultant that created the department master plan is the person that we're hoping to use because she's already well, entrenched in the process and already knows a lot about us. So any questions on that? I know it's not a lot of detail. I just kind of wanted to let you know it was coming up. I'd be happy to share anything with you after the fact if you'd like. Good? Okay. Another request that we're doing for the upcoming mid-year is we have an ongoing project. It's our Stories project, and it actually is hosted on our website, and we have 85 interviews. Have you seen that on the history portion on the website? This year, we're proposing usually we'll do anywhere from, I'd say, 7 to 10 interviews. And the Historical Society will partner with them on this project, and they'll write out a list of who we think we should interview this year. Well, what we'd like to propose this year is to do a Bailey Johnson community documentary. And that's very much so like the Farmhouse documentary, if you've seen that. It's done in that format. It's done by the same producer. And we are proposing that we tell the story. If you're not familiar with the story, it's very rich to our community. And I would love to share. I'm not going to go into history because I can easily start heading that way, and I don't want to go that way right now. But there is here, I can email tomorrow a little link. He did a little teaser. The Historical Society hasn't signed off on everything on that teaser, but it's about a 5-minute teaser just to give you a feel. But I wanted to let you know that that's coming up too. Any questions? Play It Again piano program. I'm sure you've seen some of the pianos around town. You're familiar with the painted pianos. Sadly, our baby grand at the Art Center, it's on its last leg. I know, it's very sad. So they have shelf lives. I mean, it's just they're outside. It's just the way it is, and we've known it. But so we decided to go ahead and jump into it, and I thought it was really cute. Don't fret, but we're going to have another one. So down the street, there was a woman. I mean, I'm talking like we walked to her house. Very sadly, she passed away, and her family wants to donate their baby grand. And we had a piano tuner last week go look at it, play it. It got check, 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 just beautiful ratings all the way down. So we're going to go have that donated and start the painting process. So we got that checked off. But we are creating a sculpture out of the old piano, and it will continue to live. And I don't know if you're familiar with the center picture here on the location. This is the hallway, kind of where the restrooms are. If you kind of go around the ladder, here to the right is the hallway. Shelton Cochran, I don't know if you know him, he's on the Arts Alpharetta board. He's the sculptor, and he's actually, we've been calling him the piano man. He sits out there on that ladder, and I can hear him going, blah, 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 like talking to himself and thinking through processes. And it's been a really cool project to watch, and I'll pop in and take pictures of him. But that's his rendering, and it's coming to life now. So, any questions? You're good?
I am so glad the art is surviving.
Isn't that neat? I like it a lot too. He loves it. He's so excited about this project. I mean, he's just over the top. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I spoke to him for a while, and he is so inspiring. And he was so passionate about this project, about taking it apart and putting it together. It was pretty cold, but he was just, doing his work. It was really nice. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's quite the project. I'm going to grab these guides when you're having to take those strings off. It's, it's technical. I'm going to pass these out. These are our new Arts and Culture Guide. This is our spring edition. Just a little reminder, we have a rec guide that we actually join in during the summer for camps, the art classes and all of our programs. But we can't plan out the whole year. We don't do like a baseball program or football program. Our instructors plan out about 3-4 months ahead of time. So this is our spring guide that'll go February through May. So please sign up for classes. We'd love to have you. A couple of things to highlight. One thing that we're doing for our adaptive programs that we're very excited about is we are going to have Art Pals. We have been trying to have adaptive classes with Lionheart, with different partners, and they just don't fill. We have a hard time getting them to make. So we're trying a new approach now where a parent can call in or anyone and that wants to take a class that needs extra assistance, and we'll find them an art pal to go. They can take any class and they'll have a pal with them to sit through the class. And we're actually paying them to sit through the class. So it's not a volunteer. They have to go through training with Lionheart, and they have to pass that training. So we're working on that right now. Another part of this is we're going to have a spring break camp. So that's we did our first Thanksgiving camp, Thanksgiving week, and now we're going to have a spring break camp. And then also for Black History Month, we have a youth and teen art class. And we have, they can take that during the week when it's I think it's a Fulton County holiday that day. So they can come in and take that painting class. Down Home on the Farm is a new show that we're doing, and it's a neat collaboration between Arts Alpharetta, and we're borrowing historical farm equipment from the Historical Society. So they're going to bring in those items, put those within the gallery, and mix that within the show and exhibit. The open call is out, the paintings were coming in, and the reception will be on February 4th between 5 and 7. So I hope you can come by and attend. By the way, Meet Vera Stark will be at the Alpharetta Arts Center Black Box Theater. This is a show. We always do a show with Act 1 that comes in, and they'll do it in the black box, and they do a show every February with us. So I hope you can come in and experience that show. In celebration of Black History Month, it's a sort of a 3-tiered event. It's like 3 events in one. We have Harlem Renaissance does Alpharetta. What we'll be doing that evening on February 11th is we will have, at 6 p.m., we'll have a sculpture unveiling. That is going to be Shelton Cochran's The Piano. We do not have a name for the piano yet, so he has not told us. I told him he's got to get that going pretty soon. So, also at 6 p.m. in our studio gallery, we will be showing 3 other artists. We have an exhibit going on, and so we'll have you walk in, do an unveiling, see the other gallery exhibit. Then at 6:30, we're going to have a interpretive story time to talk about Black African American community, and it's going to be poetry, literature, music. It's going to be all intertwined, and it'll be a really great night. So if you guys can come by, we'd really love that. Alpharetta Symphony Orchestra, February 24th at 8 p.m. They're going to be performing at Alpharetta Methodist Church, and I would love for you to attend this. They do performances here regularly, and I don't know if you've heard them lately, but they are amazing. So please get out and support them. Love, Sex, and the IRS. City Center Players. They have a show that they'll be presenting, and that's at the Art Center. And they will do it. It's for 2 weekends, Friday and Saturday, and they'll do a matinee on Sunday. And you can kind of read about that here. Any questions? Thank you.
Morgan, I think you're up.
Good evening, Commission. First, I want to brag on Kim. I'm just sitting here amazed at the things that we're doing. And every time I speak to this group, I think I have to remind you how quickly we got to where we're at here. I mean, when we're talking about things like, art pals, that's just the ability for folks who have special needs to come to the Art Center and take a class. And we're providing that assistance. It's just, that's just good stuff. So as I continue to tell Kim, I'm just amazed at what her and her group have done. So it's been a good year, but I think it's been a good run by the cultural arts collective that we have in Alpharetta. A lot of energy now. Here we are having major developments coming up and asking y'all's permission to do stuff. I mean, that's really a good place to be when art's in the driver's seat like that. But my task tonight is not to brag on Kim, although every opportunity I get, I'm going to brag on them. But I wanted to give the Cultural Arts Commission the same report that I gave the Recreation Commission at their last meeting, which is basically an overview, highlights of 2022 for us as a department. And I will point out that these are department highlights, and I asked each of the managers, and there are 6 of them, to give me what they thought were their top 5 or 6 items that they did in 2022 as a group. And then I compiled those, and then I threw out the ones that I didn't think were worthy to make the list, because my intent was for it to be in one page, but you can see I missed it by 1. But I will point out, and that there was 27 highlights in 2022. Of those, 7 were over the cultural services, and that's at about 22%. So, and I didn't do that thinking that I was going to report 22%. I actually put the check marks on tonight to kind of give you a highlight. But I think that speaks volumes of where we're going, is that arts and culture are in the are at the table making decisions and doing good things. So, but I do want to just kind of brag on a whole department for a minute. And I'm just going to go down the list that you have in front of you. One of them, you know, it's funny that I lead with work began on the construction of a new maintenance shop in Wills Park. But for the last 2.5 years, our maintenance folks have been working out of the horse barns in Wills Park. And there's no, they have no side. They have a top but no sides. And the fact now that we're building a building that probably most of y'all will never see, never go into, but it will absolutely help everything in our organization. That's pretty exciting. And that building, we're supposed to be in that building sometime in February, so that's pretty exciting. The outdoor mural was installed at the Movie Studio Grill. I know some of y'all came out for the unveiling of that. I think that was, again, a turning point that we have that whole, and I went by it just by happenstance, went by it this weekend, and it still looks just as good as the day we involved, and as much fun as it was that day. We installed wayfinding signage at Union Hill, Marconi Road, and Webb Bridge Park so that people can find their way around. So we have a whole sign package. Eventually, all of our parks are going to have the same sign. When you see that blue, if you've been around the parks and you've seen that blue, anywhere you go in the city, you see that blue, you know you're going to be in one of the Alpharetta parks, even on the Greenway. So when you get on the Greenway, we're actually going to tell you where you're at on the Greenway. Those signs are being produced right now. So if you go, say, to North Point Park, right by Ethan Allen, and you go down, you get on the Greenway, and you've walked 3 or 4 miles and you're tired when you come back, we're going to remind you where you're at on the Greenway. Because right now, you better remember which of the little side streets you came out of the Greenway, because you can get lost quick. Bocce ball courts were opened at North Park, and the reason that made the list is because that started out as a scout project, and it was they wanted to do it over at the community center. There was no room, say, at the end, and we moved them up to North Park near our senior center, and now there are 3 gorgeous bocce ball courts, and there's leagues and play going on now. And so that all stemmed from a scout wanting to make a difference in the community. Union Hill Pavilion was used as a special event facility by several groups. I put that on there because that was a personal goal of mine when I got to Alpharetta and went to Union Hill for the first time. And there was this absolutely gorgeous pavilion up there that was locked up. So I said myself, one of my goals before I retire is to get this facility up and running. And folks, it's up and running. We had some really good concerts in there. I know there was Commissioner Andrews was involved in a couple of events there that were hugely successful. We had a food event there, and 2023 is looking like it's really going to blow it out, because Home by Dark is going to do some extra concerts up there. So we're really excited about the pavilion at Union Hill. Public Works completed a Rotary Stream Bank registration project in Wills Park. The reason that's important because Rotary gave money to the city many years ago to begin the stream bank restoration. And with the help of Public Works Department, we were able to do the first phase of that. If there is ever an impaired stream in the city of Alpharetta, it is the one in Wills Park that goes from Old Milton Parkway, where it comes out, over to Wills Park. That stream is in peril, and this is the first step toward bringing that creek back. Right now, that creek is, a healthy creek is like a U. And the banks, and when the creek floods, it just kind of flows out on the bank. This is a V, and that is what you don't want because that speeds the water up. So it is our intent to take this project all the way to Old Milton Parkway. And we actually have phase 2, getting ready to announce phase 2 here in just a minute. A new basketball court was installed at the Alpharetta Community Center. The reason that made the list is a basketball court's a basketball court, right? But we'd been having problems for years with moisture coming up into that gym. And every now and then we'd have to replace a board because the ball just wouldn't bounce. So we bit that one off. We took it down all the way to the base, to the foundation. We sealed the foundation and then built that basketball court up. So for the next 25 years, nobody will have to worry about that court other than keeping it clean. Medley, the newest round of temporary public art, was installed at with 5 new pieces of artwork. That's always fun and exciting because that re-energizes that art walk that we do, because now we have to take new pictures and do a whole new brochure and everybody gets excited about it. One of my personal favorites is the art crosswalk installed at the Art Center. I just love that. I love that. I love it, the one that is at Windward, and it is our hope in 2023 to do a couple of more of those. The new equestrian arena, number 1, was officially open. That's where, if you remember me telling you that our folks have been working, maintenance folks have been working out of the maintenance barn. The reason they've been working out of the maintenance barn is we tore the old maintenance barn down to make way for the equestrian center. And that new equestrian center, let me tell you, it is the state of the art. If you could take 2 fire trucks out there on both sides of that, turn them on full blast with water on it, and now there would be absolutely no puddles on that arena. And it is absolutely flat. Every other arena we have either tilts to the left, tilts to the right, or is crowned. Now, if you're riding a horse, and you're riding like this, or riding like this, or the horse is not sure, it makes a big difference. This is absolutely flat. That was paid half of it by the foundation. The Equestrian Foundation has raised money to pay for half of that. And we're getting ready to start on redoing Arena 3, hopefully next week. New audio equipment was installed at the equestrian covered arena. Now, I live close enough to the equestrian center. When they have a horse show, I can hear this. Used to, when they were having a horse show, it sounded like Charlie Brown's cartoons. You remember when the parents talk? Wah, 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 wah. That's what it sounded like. Now, I can hear exactly what the name of the horse is, who the rider is, and what place they finish. It is crystal clear. Let me see. Groundbreaking was held at the new Alpha Loop section that goes from the Old Milton Parkway to North Winds for the Alpha Loop. That is about a 1.5 mile section. Think about that. You're going to be able to walk from Old Milton Parkway at the post office on a trail that's going to take you under West Side and bring you up to North Winds, almost at Georgia 400. And it is going to be an absolutely gorgeous walk. At one point, you're going to be 40 feet above the ground on a kind of a sky bridge that's going to go there. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to be a deal changer because of how many connections that makes. Registration at our all-day day camps was up 25%, and our half-day day camps was up 28%. Those are significant numbers, and that was all the way across the board, and our daily pool emissions were at 23%. That's key because in 2021, about 60% of the time we were at capacity. So how did we go up 23%? Because our staff got creative on how to schedule things, and we were just able to do more things in the pool, up 23%. We had 130 free monthly health and wellness programs offered because of the grant from Northside Hospital. 130 free classes per month. Okay, that's not for the whole year, that's per month, 130 classes throughout our program, throughout our parks. Those are significant. 92% of all cultural arts camps and 79% of all cultural arts programs offered were held. Significant, folks, because for those of you that have been trying to go to programs for a while, a couple of years ago, the thing was Well, I signed up for that class, but they had to cancel it. Why don't they, why is that? So we're at 92% of the camps and 79% of the programs are now being held. We're looking to get that percentage up high. Another is 12 large non-city events were held at the Alpharetta Arts Center, plus 29 rentals. Why is that significant? Because me and Kim have made it, understand that if you can get people at the Arts Center, they'll figure out that it's a good, cool place. So what better way to get them is to do other events, trick them into coming to the Arts Center, and we got them hooked for the classes and the programs. The Alpharetta Youth Softball Association and the city replaced fencing at 3 fields at North Park. Again, I mentioned that because it was a 50-50. They came up with cash, paid for half of the fencing there at North Park. Then we painted the interiors and exteriors of restrooms at Webb Bridge, Union Hill Park, and Rock Mill Park. Why is that exciting? Because nobody gets excited about restrooms except me. Because if you have a nice restroom that's painted and it's clean, people use the restroom, they leave and they go home, they never think about it. If you have a dirty, old restroom, they go in and say, this place sucks, and they don't come back. So that's why that's exciting to me. We got very aggressive with dead and dangerous trees in the parks throughout it, because we are managing about 320 acres of forest land, and that's a full-time job, to be honest with you. If you don't manage it, then the forest will take over, the privet will take over, and the dead trees will spread. So we're really trying to manage that. We put entrance signs at our two other centers. North Park Multipurpose Field number 2, the artificial turf was completed. Community Center roofing was repaired. Our memorial bench program was initiated, and we have now placed about, I think it's 17 or 18 benches around town. Wow. Where people have paid money to have a bench put in. Those benches are about $1,600 a piece, and so you can do the math. It was a very worthwhile program. The Webb Bridge front tennis courts were converted to pickleball, and we resurfaced that. The community agriculture program was approved by mayor and city council. You don't even want to get me started on talking about the agricultural program. I'm as proud of that as I am in the cultural arts. And then the last one is the cultural arts curated 22 different exhibits and produced 56 music match shows in 2022. Those are just significant folks. And that's the highlights. That didn't, again, that's the highlights from a year. So I think we had a good year, and thanks to the commission for being part of that. We're really looking forward to 2023.
Can you send us a copy of this?
Absolutely, I can.
I would love to share.
With all the details.
With all the details. Oh, no. I will. We will do that first thing in the morning.
Thank you, Morgan. Any other comments? Terrific. All right. Do we have any reports from the commissioners? Anybody have? Nope.
Actually, I do have
You do.
one question.
Excellent.
I made a note somewhere. So the new Wills Park Maintenance Shack, is that a blank canvas for us to do some work on potentially?
It is, well, it's not a shack, it's a shed. Okay, so shack kind of has a different connotation.
Okay.
But hadn't even thought about that. It is actually, you could drive through Wills Park and you won't see that building. So it is not, it was intended not to be seen by the public. So it would not be a good place to put a mural.
I have a question. Can we organize a workshop to give us a platform to discuss what we want to have accomplished this year?
Yeah. Okay. Michael's proposing, and well, you and Melody will discuss that with Kim and set that up. Okay.
Okay.
Terrific. Thank you. Anything else? All right, so the last thing on here, public comment. Do we have anybody who wants to give a public comment?
Are we going to get some fans underneath the pavilion at Union Hill Park soon?
Yes. And it,
Wait. Can I get you to?
And please state your name when you come up here.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Sorry.
Good evening, Thomas Nolfa, a resident of Alpharetta since 1988. I remember when Windward was one lane each way. I joined Arts Alpharetta last year as a way to give back to the city. That's blessed me so. And I met Michael, and he told me to come to one of these to understand what the role of Arts Alpharetta is in comparison to what you all do, in comparison to what then the city does and all the layers of bureaucracy that have been built. So I had the opportunity to come to this. But in a different context, we were subscribers to Home by Dark for the initial season out there, and it was lovely. And I've spoken to James, and there are more concerts planned, but a couple of those big fans would really be good.
okay. So
And before July.
okay, so do you remember the layers of bureaucracy you mentioned? That kind of sometimes doesn't let me do things as quickly as I would like for them to do. But we'll tell you that part of we have Union Hill is getting a redo as part of the bond referendum, and we have set aside funds to redo the pavilion. And one of the things that we're going to do, and pardon me saying this out loud, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to put in 2 big ass fans, because that's what they're called, and in there. We're also going to redo the electrical, the whole electrical part of the Union Hill, because right now all the power's in one end, are in that metal cage. So we're going to spread that power around. So yes, to answer your question. And
My son played roller hockey there, and how you just got the stench of boys going through puberty and all that equipment, how you got that out is amazing. So I was grateful for that even, but fans would be great for that.
Yeah, and when you go back, you're going to notice that we also have updated the restrooms as part of that bond project, and that is actually underway now. And to James's delight, we're going to take the old concession stand, we're turning it into what we're calling a green room for events. So there'll be a place for his artist, or if another event's being held in the concession stand, to use it as a green room or a preparation room. So it's really going to take on a different look.
Great, thank you so much. Keep up the great work.
Before you go, I'm sorry. I know you said you were an Alpharetta resident, but I have to be the one. Exactly where, so I can have it for the record?
Way on the other side of 400. On the east side, the side near Webb Bridge Park even. But I bought in Henderson Village in 1988, and then built in Park Glen in 93 to 94.
Are you still in the Parkland subdivision?
Yep.
Morgan, can you give us an idea of the timeline on those Union Hill improvements?
Yes, I can. We are actively working on the improvements to the pavilion. We're hoping to, we've already started some of, like I said, we've already restarted some of the redo of the restrooms and the concession stand into the green room. We are working now with the contracts to redo the electrical, fix the roof, and paint it, and then we've got to go through mayor and council. So I'm thinking that in May, you're going to see significant improvement at the Union Hill Pavilion. Now, the Union Hill Park itself is currently under design. We have a company called Dixon Hicks that is designing it. They've given staff a couple of renditions. We have given them some comments on those renditions, and they're coming back to us. Once we're satisfied, then we will put that design out to the public, bring it to the Recreation Commission, as well as to Mayor and Council. They have to approve the design, and then we'll go to bid for the contract. I expect the bid to be coming before the council sometime in May or June, with construction hopefully in early 2024.
So you said there will be an opportunity for public input, I guess?
Absolutely.
And when do you expect that to happen?
I expect that to happen sometime in April. But don't hold me to that. That's just what I expect. But we will certainly make, the input from the public will be done online and through social media. We're not going to have a public meeting, but there will be a presentation at the Recreation Commission as well as the City Council meeting for both of those items for folks who will be able to come and make a statement or have an opinion at either one of those two meetings.
Thank you.
Almost forgot, we won't have a meeting, but February 16th will be Fulton County Day down at the state capitol. So the governor will be there, and so other mayors and commissioners will be coming out, and this reception is at 2:30, and so we'd love to see you guys come down. We're part of that host committee, so I'm inviting Alpharetta to come down.
Thank you, Gene. Go ahead.
February 16th, and it's at the state capitol.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, if not, can I have a motion to adjourn? Okay. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn from Chantel Foster and a second by Melody Cookson. All in favor, raise your right hand. Great. See you next month.
You know, I think you just increased the 5 minutes to 50.
Huh? Say it again?
You know how I asked you for 5 minutes? I think